On the final episode of Art of War, we're finally gonna go through some live action fighting and how you should fight with your allies and how you should position yourself when you're pushing or getting pushed. So stick around in this video as we break down the fight as it's happening live, what the mistakes we should be avoiding, and how we should position ourselves in order to whether if we want to get the advantage or we just want to hold positions. What's up guys, MEOWER here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. As we can see, this video is already starting with a full-blown action-packed fighting against our enemies 42 TCs, which features us, Rota, and our allies Misfits. So right off the bat, I want to give huge props for 42 TC. They've been fighting incredibly well and they've been extremely impressive even though they are at a disadvantage from power-wise, as their allies are sadly not the strongest compared to us. We're currently the one of four of the top three of the top three alliances are ganged up against, well, pretty much the rest of the server, but the power difference is just too big. So huge shout out for 42 TC again. Gotta give credit where credit is due. They've been fighting incredibly well and against all odds actually managed to push us quite a little bit and hold us for quite a while. So before before we start diving into the art of war and how you should fight with your allies and how you should position while you should kite and so on and so forth, don't forget to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe, and let's just go, 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 go. This video is gonna be fun and it's full of action, and I'll teach you step by step my thought process when I'm fighting, while of course trying to know my limits and seeing how my allies position and I react accordingly. So right off the bat, we see an infantry dive into a big ball. While this is always nice, you should not dive in too fast without your marches supporting you, because the whole point is you trying to catch their front line out or catching straggler marches like this person right here, who I think lagged out and had his marches completely get caught off out of position, and I am accidentally following him. We can see here, as soon as I feel like I'm getting hit, I should just back off, let the infantry soak the damage for me, and then I slowly go back in. And of course, chasing into someone's territory is, while it is good, it's not always worth it, because we have a risk of these two players right now just popping out of their cities, five bombing, and, and trapping us all out of position, and then we all die for free. So, what you should do in this situation is try to funnel in a direction that is far away from any uh, cities, in a place that you can safely control your marches and back off if you need it. You don't always need to just full on push, even if you have the advantage. You should not waste it and have an ego push, because having ego pushes ends up in throws. And of course, we can see some behemoths in there as well. So we got pretty much almost every element of Call of Dragons open field combat happening before our very eyes. Behemoths in Call of Dragons should not be fighting solo. Okay, while yes, behemoths did get buffed, you should not throw in a behemoth solo without marches supporting it. It's gonna be annoying, yes, but it's not gonna leave a dent without any marches supporting it, because behemoths need support. They cannot function solo, even if they're elite. You can just have a little thing do called just, get out of tether range and wait for its cooldown. That's it. That's all you need to do counter Behemoth if you don't have troops threatening a push with it. But if you have troops threatening a push with it, you're going to force people to fight around the Behemoths, because, as well, Behemoths do provide and sometimes have friendly auras, depending on which one, that buff your commanders or debuff your enemies. So you always want to benefit of that happening, and as well as playing around them and getting that advantage or just holding your position. But just throwing it alone into marches is not really going to do much. You're not going to benefit anything, and the enemy will just wait it out completely, and you would have wasted a precious cooldown that could have been used to just lock in a certain place, and so on and so forth. We can see here there's a player called Love. He keeps popping in and out of cities. City hopping in general is a very good tactic to learn if you're in defense, though there is a way to counter it, which we mentioned in our previous video when we were discussing underrated artifacts. You could use Magic Bomb and place that Magic Bomb on top of the march. As soon as that Magic Bomb is placed on top of the march, that march cannot enter or the city anymore, keeping it completely exposed and free to kill. So Keep that in mind if you play against people that just city hop often. That's the best way to counter them. Or just place troops immediately around the city to somewhat maybe cause a bug out in the marching or pathfinding and have them get trapped out. Here I'm going to refresh because having yellow marches is not the best because they kind of have slight even fights against us. I'm not sure if that's everyone for them or not. They're mainly EU based, while we are more spread out across multiple time zones as we are two big alliances. Though most of our firepower is on the left, so we're here just trying to help out Misfit and trying to prevent a threat flag push that could threaten our territory here and make us lose holding in the final zone. As we can see, the behemoth is just standing there, completely exposed and not really doing anything. It's just taking free damage. It's either gonna die or we can just, stand right outside the circle and watch it be completely useless at all. So, few things to keep in mind when you are fighting. You need to know your limits. You need to know when you should go in and when you should go out. Just randomly going in and going out will not really get you far, especially if you're fighting someone of equal power or you're fighting someone stronger than you. Tactics are the most important fundamental thing to keep in mind, and microing your units as well. You don't want to take more than three people hitting you at any given time, unless, of course, it's a Hoskinara march. Having more than three people hitting you at any given time will just end up having your marches melted for free when they provide no value at all. Unless, of course, again, an exception for that is always present, whether if it's infantry or if it's a Hoskinara march. So in this here, we can see them all grouping up in this section, and maybe we could try to group up and make a push here and slowly push them back. Of course, don't forget to taunt if you're pushing. You can always use the Ferrando laughing emoji. It is by far the most toxic and my favorite one, and having voice comms always helps out the most. Hopefully, you learned a thing or two on how you should position and how you should fight. Always stick with the ball. Don't go too far outside the ball, otherwise, you get risk of getting hit and bombarded and picked off one by one. Stand your ground, know your limits, and slowly push, but don't overextend onto enemy territory, just like we're about to do right now, because people follow my lead, and I just sometimes like to rambo if we're standing completely close and doing nothing at all. Sometimes people have a little trigger finger, so try to gauge, bait, wiggle in, wiggle out, hopefully have people move out of position, and as soon as they're out of position, you can immediately snipe them or just have them waste stamina like Love just did. I think that is pretty much everything, really, for the Art of War, especially in fighting in open field combat. Cavalry, useless as ever, immediately gets one shot and provides no value for the enemy at all. Of course, for now, I'll just show you a little more fighting footage for this, but for now, the commentary I think is over unless there's anything worthwhile commenting on. Think Misfits are kind of in their downtime right now, or they're too spread thin, and we're currently, I think, too spread thin ourselves. But however, you can see here their behemoth is finally gone, so we could threaten the flag push right now, destroy that flag, which is what their goal was initially, was to place that flag. I think they placed that flag too early, not during their downtime, not during their uptime, and they cannot realistically defend it for long without us just collapsing on them for free and just picking them off, getting the merits and getting the kills. Because, of course, this season, my goal is hopefully to surpass 300 million kills. So we're getting some action finally. We can see here Schemo is five bombing in the middle of everyone. That is never worth it, and you should never do that at all because I could just place the little taunt artifact here and they are completely dead for free, providing no value at all. Should never, ever, ever, if you are in this situation, five bomb in the middle of so many enemy marches. You're just wasting your troops, you're wasting your stamina, and you're gonna get picked off and die. See here, I'm a bit out of position myself, so what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna drag out my marches a little bit. I'm gonna keep my mages to DPS, and I'm gonna try to Breath of Gigantus their front line, because as soon as their front line is down, my front line can start to push up and start to deal their damage, deal their DPS. Accidentally autoed a Darkling. I've noticed that happening quite often, and of course the game has to lag as soon as I autoed Darkling. So keep in mind, you should not really auto Darklings at all. And if you want to try to avoid it as much as possible, and you don't care what tiers of troops you're attacking, you can always play from the bird's eye view, because the bird's eye view gives you better understanding of what's going on, but it is more difficult to activate your what do you call it, your artifacts in this situation. So everything has its pros and cons. If you play zoomed in, you can see better vision of who's who and who's where, but it's far more laggy. So pick your poison and stick with it. But on that note, I think I will end the video here so I can hop on VC with my alliance and coordinate better. This has been the Art of War. I know I said at the start of the video this could be the final video, but of course, if I see anything interesting, I could either make an episode 4 or just, I don't even remember if this was episode 3 or 4, not gonna lie. But anyway, wait, doesn't matter. We don't edit on this channel, so we're not gonna cut this part out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Join the Discord. The link is in the description. And we have a TikTok account now. I know I have joined the dark side and I've made a TikTok account. So be sure to drop a follow. Of course, my handle is meower meow. The usual, as it is everywhere, whether if it's on my Discord or on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. If you like content like this, please don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Meow meow.